Hello, everyone. Welcome to Youth Reference Hub initiative called Inspiration Space, where we bring people, young people worldwide, to share their ideas, to share their stories, to inspire you and me. And whatever you are, please feel welcome. Today, we have Jamie. Jamie is running an initiative called Sharing Hope Africa. And this initiative is supporting communities in Mozambique, and she's doing great job in some province here in Mozambique called Gaza. So I will be inviting her. Jamie, welcome to Inspiration Space of Youth Reference Hub Initiative. We are very honored to have you.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to get to talk about this. It's my favorite subject, so very excited.
Nice. So can we start off like can you tell us what inspired you to start the Sharing Hope Africa and focus, because I know based on what you have in your website, that the idea of your platform, your initiative is breaking the cycle of social and economic poverty through skill empowerment. So what was the motivation, by the way?
Yeah, so I actually originally started coming to Africa when I was 14, 15 years old. I came by myself with another organization, and I originally started in Swaziland. So it was more of a relief organization. So we would come with donations and kind of hand them out and pass them out. And while I loved that work, and that's what initially sparked all of my interest in Africa,
Hmm.
and helping those in need, it wasn't doing enough for me. So around that time, I started going to college when I was, 18 years old, and I'm formally trained to be a mechanical engineer. And
Ah, great.
one of the guiding principles of being an engineer is thinking about longevity and sustainability. And, I took those lessons and I really reflected on them. And I found that I wanted to do something more in long-term development and figuring out how to help others help themselves into
Mhm,
self-reliance. So that's when I worked with a man named Joseph Billa.
mhm,
He's from Swaziland, or he's from Mozambique, but lives in
mhm,
Swaziland.
mhm.
At that point, we'd known each other for, I don't know, 8 years. And then together we kind of founded this idea. He was already starting to try to work things, and, I asked him if I could be a part of it. And from that, we've
Mhm.
just kind of blossomed.
Wow, that's nice to know. That's how all these things started,
Yeah.
and so how many people have you like supported so far?
Oh gosh. So the school, he originally started the preschool in Lucilo back in, I think, 2012.
Mhm,
So that was before, no, that was probably around when I started coming, but I wasn't really involved in that yet. So ever since, it's been about 100 kids a year. So almost 1,000 kids over the past, what is it, 11 years.
okay.
So there's that, and then we have the farm in Swaziland that employs people. And the idea is that is the initial concept phase where we're going to do a lot of debugging, trial and error to kind
Mhm,
of sort it out. And then we already have land established in Mozambique where we'll start a farm
mhm,
in the community that's near Lucilo. It's about a 20-minute drive from Lucilo,
mhm.
where it'll be a big, big farm, large employer of the area. So, the adults can earn wages, they can gain skills, they can, take the little subsistence farming on their
Mhm.
plots and turn it into more of a mass market, but also while being able to rely on an income that helps them feed their families, send their kids to school. So between the two of them, we
Mhm.
have a lot of plans.
Ah, okay. So, any specific reason why you choose a Lucilo community or why?
Yes, it's because Joseph was from there, my partner, in all of this.
Okay.
You know, Joseph's father was the town planner
Mhm,
of Lucilo before the war broke out. And then obviously the war broke out and it was extremely brutal. I encourage anybody who is not very familiar with the Mozambican War. There's a lot of interesting material that you can read on it. And that
mhm,
really contributed to me understanding more of the culture and kind of where the country is today. That kind of gave me a basis. So after the war, Joseph just really, really wanted to go back to his community, help them thrive, help them, get through this next phase and get there where their children are being helped, where the mothers are being helped, where, the community can thrive.
Okay. Okay.
So the
So
goal-
that's why it's like it's easy for you to start implementing your project in Lucilo. So you've been there since 2013. Am I right? Yeah.
I believe going, I believe I started going in 2018 is when I first went to
2018.
Lucilo.
Okay.
So yeah, because I was in college, so it was a little difficult for me. I was still helping in the ways that I could, and then once I graduated college, that's really when things ramped up. So that's when I was able to provide more assistance, provide more, not necessarily guidance, but more collaboration in order to, make the organization what it is today.
Yeah. So no, donate your time, donate your effort, your knowledge is something very nice. It's not everybody that can do it, and you are very special for doing that for the community of Lucilo and the other community that you mentioned here. But the question is, what really like is this something that's part of you? You were born like that, like enjoying giving your time and your effort, your energy to the people, or what's that coming from?
Yeah, so I've actually, I was raised by really great parents and a really great family where we really focused on giving back to those in need and helping others. So, a lot of kids get into when they're young and in elementary, primary school, they get into sports or arts or I don't know, whatever else they could be interested in. I was really, really involved in volunteering and wanting to give back. So in the US, we have this program called Girl Scouts, and there's also Boy Scouts, but that really teaches you about giving back to your community and helping those in need and developing those skills to kind of make you a great leader in the future, make you someone who wants to enact change in the world. So that's really where I got my start. We did a lot of work with homeless shelters here in the US. We did a lot of work with hospitals, especially organizations like the Ronald McDonald House. So that helps families whose children are in hospitals. They stay at the Ronald McDonald House while their children are getting treatment. And we would come in and cook meals for the families and host like Christmas parties and stuff. So that's kind of really where I started getting involved with children
Yeah.
and then also working more with adults. So I was able to see both sides from that work.
Awesome. That's really nice. So um is like what I understand from your story is like having this relationship with the community and supporting community from the very young. It's something that push you to this field of continuing supporting people, especially children, and that's really nice. So would you recommend like young people to do that, or
Oh,
would you recommend? Okay.
absolutely. Other than, feeling personally rewarded, other than getting, that validation of feeling like you're contributing to the society, it's really a great opportunity to learn and become more dynamic and kind of expand your horizons. It teaches you to like get out of your bubble, get out of your comfort zone, and really explore what's truly there in the world. Especially in recent times, we're also wrapped up on social media and this image of living a perfect life, but that's just not reality for so many people. And even the people on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, social media, all of that, it really giving back to your community shows you who those people are and who in your community needs help and who in your community, you know, it just shows everyone's love and affection for everyone. And it just expands your horizons beyond what any school, beyond what any book, beyond what anything can possibly get back to you and teach you about.
So have you faced any challenge during this process of giving yourself to the community or giving back to the community? What kind of challenge did you face, and what strategies?
Yeah, there's been a lot of struggle.
Hmm.
I'm sure everyone's aware in recent times, especially in the United States, it's been a lot about like putting America first. Um, it's been a very, very big trend lately, especially with the recent presidential elections. It's all about America first. It's all about, putting us before anyone else. And I personally just don't really agree with that. Where we now live in a global world and global society, where it's really important that we continue to stay interconnected. That's how we learn. That's how we grow. That's how we make sure past mistakes aren't repeated. So I've faced a lot of pushback on going to another country and giving help there. And I've also received, or not really received, it's been very difficult fundraising for my programs. Very, very
Hmm.
difficult. Because people are, with the latest kind of way of thinking in the US and even a lot of European companies, from my understanding,
Hmm.
um, they want to donate to local organizations. They want to donate to, the organizations within their community, which I
Ah,
totally agree with. Everyone needs help.
of course.
But we can't forget about those international communities that we can also assist.
Hmm.
Um, One question that I receive a lot
Hmm.
is, why do you go all the way to Africa to help rather than just helping in your own backyard? And
Hmm.
I do a lot in my own community. I help out soup kitchens. I actually hosted a Ukrainian family in my apartment for a year. I do a lot here locally, but here we have a lot of resources that the communities in Africa don't necessarily have. We have welfare. We have, those social health care brackets. We have options here where people can receive help. Whereas over in Mozambique and
Hmm.
Swaziland and, a lot of the rural communities don't have access to any of that. So it's really important to me to help those who aren't seen as often.
Yeah, yeah. So, based on this challenge that you mentioned, so what's the mantra? What's the mantra that keeps you on track? Because sometimes I can like imagine you feeling upset with all this effort that you've been doing, and where do you find the energy to keep doing the good?
Yeah. That's been a struggle,
Yeah,
especially of late.
I
So
imagine.
I found that my empathy is really what kind of guides me and drives me to do all the work that I do. Um, I go into these communities, I go into these orphan care points, I go into the preschool, and I see the lives of these kids, and I just want to be there and I just want to hug them and help them. I see these adults who it breaks their heart that they're
Mhm.
struggling to feed their children. They're struggling to get their kids to school. They're struggling so much. And I feel that feeling. And while I'll never understand that feeling, and that's
Mhm.
definitely owned by them, and I respect that, I just feel this drive. It feels like my heart is being pulled out of my body towards this. And I
Mhm.
just always go back and I reflect on that.
Mhm.
There's specifically one story that I think about a lot, and I actually have it on my phone. There's one little boy named Saviso
Mhm.
in our preschool in Mozambique, and he's been through a lot of trials and tribulations. And I was actually there when he was born. I've known
Yeah.
this kid for a while now,
Wow.
and you know I just think back to him and I'm like, I can't let him down. I can't, just walk away and let him down. And then I think about
Mhm.
my partners, you know,
Yeah.
Joseph is such an inspiration, and I love working with local partners. I love listening to the local leaders, listening to the families. I don't live there. And one of the struggles of, coming from another country and doing work in Africa, You never want to step on toes. You never want to be in that position where you're imparting your views because I don't live there. I don't
Yeah.
experience the same things. So it's so important to listen to the stories. And that's really what inspires me.
Yeah, yeah. That's really deep. So, your missions is like breaking the poverty cycle through skill empowerment, right? So,
Mhm.
what kind of skills are that you are empowering
Yeah.
the children?
So we have two different things. We have empowering the students and empowering the adults. So with the children, we do a lot of work at the preschool on, not just teaching Shangan, that's the local language there. We also work on teaching Portuguese because normally, from my understanding, you don't get Portuguese until you go to primary school, elementary school, really. Your first language is kind of the native language at that area, whether it's the Tonga, whether it's Shangaan.
Yeah.
So we work on starting their language skills earlier because many studies have proven the earlier you start a language, the easier other languages are to come to you. Especially, in the area near Lasilo, you have Praia do Belém, you have, all the way up in Inhamban around Tofu area. The tourism industry is expected to boom like crazy in Mozambique in the next 5 years. So it's all about gearing the children up to live in a Mozambique that's not just for Mozambicans. You haven't seen that because of the Civil War, but the tourism industry is going to flourish soon, and it's preparing them, it's preparing their parents to get jobs in those industries, to be prepared, because that's where the money is going to be soon.
Yeah.
You have your farming, and with the influx of people, farming is going to have to boom to take care of all of these influx of tourists. So, while we have the farm in Swaziland and while we do orphan care point work in Swaziland, we're debugging that over there so that we can also bring it to Mozambique and create it here so that when we're ready to build that farm, hopefully in the next 5 years, we're ready and we're going to hit the ground running. We're estimated we can employ over 50, more than 100 people at that farmland that we have. And it's right on the Limpopo River. So we will always have fertile ground. We will always have access to water. And we're just really, really excited. The other
Mhm.
initiative that we're looking at for adult skills more is taking the preschool, and we would love to put electricity in the preschool
Yeah.
so that at night adults can come and we can do woodworking, we can do electrical work, we can do mechanical work on how to fix
Mhm.
cars, so that as our adults in the community, they gain these skills,
Yeah.
they're able to get those jobs to provide for their families and, be a source of inspiration for those in the communities around, where we can all expand together and be lifted up together.
Wow, that's really nice to know that you're giving very much practical skills to the children or the audience. I mean, the target back to Gaza, the Silo community. Those skills completely and definitely will really contribute to the economic integration of that people. And yeah, please keep doing this work for the Lucilo community. So I think you're kind of role model, and maybe in your community. Don't you feel that in your community because the job, the work you're doing over the world, and I look at you now. You look pretty much young, and for this huge achievement that you're getting all over the world, I think it's really amazing. You are a role model. So how do you like empower other people? How do you make sure that this knowledge that you have is not only with you, but you are empowering also the next generation, the next generation of leaders. Like,
Honestly, that's
yeah,
probably the most important piece of work that I do, is
yeah,
making sure, like we were saying, continuity, longevity. You need to make sure that sustainable aspect is there so that one day, say I get sick or something like that. It can't just rely on me. It can't just rely on Joseph. We have to
yeah,
continue. inspiring those next set of people to come and uphold the mission and uphold, those values that we have. So a lot of the work that I do, especially that's why I come back and forth Mozambique and the United States. I do a lot of work with schools here. And like I mentioned, Girl Scout troops, Boy Scout troops here. We do some programming. We do programming, we do workshops. I go in and I talk to classrooms all about my experiences. And that's how I really focus on inspiring the next generation to care about their global community over here
Okay.
in the US. In terms of inspiring others in Mozambique, I've found that Mozambicans, which is very different from the US, they really value that personal connection, getting to know you on a deeper level. It really, a lot of people in the US, we see this I don't know, this way of thinking where people say it takes a village to raise a child. You know, we don't understand that like Mozambicans do. And that is what draws me to the culture so much. I love that. Everyone's so personally connected. They know everything about each other. They help in, they step up when needed. Um, you know, and I love that. So I've found the best way for me to inspire others, especially the children that I work with, the youth that I work with, those that are the same age as me that I work with, it's making that connection and showing them, hey, I'm backing you. I'm supporting you. I want to help you do what you want to do. And being vulnerable with them as well as they're going to be vulnerable with me. It's really getting in touch with that culture and being comfortable with it. And, I've been coming for 11, 12 years to Africa now. I love it. I absolutely love it. And I've found that, it's changed a lot in me. And when I bring that back to the US, people are really connected to it. And I think that's how I'm kind of empower and bring everyone together so that we can kind of scale this.
Awesome. That's really nice. So let's talk about, you mentioned when you're talking about the challenge you face in this in your work is like the fundraising challenge. How do you make sure that you have enough resources, special financial resources to to implement the activity? And how do you make sure to overcome these fundraising problems that you mentioned before?
Yes. So I'm sure any NGO that you talk to will come up with the same biggest problem. It's always funding. It's always, are we going to make our, goals this year? Are we going to make our minimums this month? What a lot of people don't understand is, monthly donations is how organizations run. Relying on those monthly donations, even if it's $5, we can rely on those $5. And that means so much. Those small donations that come in every single month, that is the backbone of all of our organizations. What I've done is actually, this isn't my full-time job. As I'm sure you saw on my LinkedIn, this is actually my side job, Sharing Hope Africa. I do have a full-time job in the US. I'm a mechanical engineer. I actually design and manufacture lipstick, which is a great job. Really great. And that's honestly how we secure our funding. I'm married. I have a great husband very recently, and he supports this. And we donate probably up to a third, maybe a little bit more of my salary a year to make sure that our programs are funded. I would love not to have to do that so that I can put that money that we donate every year towards, expanding rather than sustaining. So, one of the reasons why I was very happy to take this is so that we can continue to spread the word of what we're doing and, inspire others to help out. $1 a month, $5 a month makes a big, big difference. And a child sponsor is $25 a month. And I'm not sure that a lot of people know that feeds our kids 2 meals a day. That clothes them, that gives them medication, access to healthcare, that teaches them how to farm. We have a little plot of farming on our school property where the kids go and they farm with our teachers and they
Yeah.
learn those skills at such a young age.
Yeah.
That gives them the education. It gives them so much. We have a social worker for those who have no parents or only a single parent that helps take care of them, make sure groceries are in the house, make sure, the kids are well taken care of. $25 a month. I don't know if you're familiar with Starbucks, but that's about three
Yeah.
Starbucks drinks a month.
Yeah.
Skip
I'm
three
really
coffees
familiar with
a
Starbucks. Yeah. Yeah.
month.
Yeah. Yeah.
Skip that, you
So
can take care of a child.
yeah, yeah. So I'm really impressed that you have been using your own resources to funding these initiatives. That's very good from you, Jamie. I know. So keep struggling. Keep using all the energy and go and find funds to support your initiative. And instead, as you said, instead of like maintaining, but also spreading. I mean, spreading the organization around the world. That's the main idea. So we are running out of time so far. I'd like you to give us some lessons, 3 lessons that you have learned in this process. Imagine you are telling to someone who want to do the same job you're doing, what are the 3 golden lesson that you have for this person?
I got you.
Yeah.
So the number one lesson in doing this kind of work is to be patient. You have to be patient. You have to let things come naturally. You have to not rush and make sure you do things right. Make sure all of your government proceedings are correct. Make sure all of your billing is correct. Make sure the people that you want to work with want you to work with them. Make sure you're doing all your checks and balances. Make sure everything is checked off so that you can proceed to the next step. Slow and steady really does win the race in this line of work, right? So that's lesson one. Lesson two would be probably just to listen. You want to lead this organization, you want to go and do all of these things, and you're so motivated and you're so passionate, which was a mistake I made. I was so excited, I was so ready, but I needed to step back and just listen. Listen to those around me, listen to those locals, listen to my partners, listen to anybody I could get to talk to me. That was the only way I've been able to kind of continue this work and really understand what I'm doing, what's needed, what's helpful, all of that. And then probably the third lesson is to kind of lead with your heart. If your heart's not in it, you're not going to do well. Listen to your heart, follow your passion, and let that guide you because it won't steer you wrong.
Wow. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Jamie. I hope you there watching this show, you got a point. You've learned from the long experience of Jamie. Please take note and remember, if you want to do it, remember to implement the lessons from Jamie. Okay, so it was amazing to have you here, and
Thank
you.
you.
So please don't stop the good job you're doing back in Mozambique. And whenever you want Youth Reference Hub to spread the world, just knock our door. We are very,
Great.
very
Thank you so
happy
much.
to, yeah, we are very happy to sharing the good things you're doing in Mozambique and other part of the continent, other part of Africa, or other part of the world. We are very, very happy. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are come to end. The conversation was very nice, but unfortunately, we have to go. So we promise next time we'll have one more person here with us to share for sharing inspiring ideas, inspiring message for you in any industry that you might need in the future or in the present. So I'm Rogerio Jr. I will see you next time. Bye bye.